Hey guys, I'm Randy.
And I'm Daniel.
We're two lifelong friends and musicians, but when we're not playing gigs, we like to talk games.
And today, on the Game and Gig podcast, we're talking about tipping game developers, the sustainability of the live service model, the ever-growing tidal wave that is Sea of Thieves, and game demos.
All right, Dana, we got a big episode today. Despite it being a little bit of a slow news week, still a big episode.
Big episode, full hearts, can't lose.
Can't. But before we get started into the first topic, I want to tell you guys that members of the YouTube Gaming Gig podcast channel get a bonus video every week. Today's bonus video is going to be where we're talking about Final Fantasy VII Rebirth, and we're also going to be talking about what games we're playing this week.
Yep. It's going to be a good time. So, if you want to become a member, we won't fight you on it. Just come on over.
That's right. But as for today, we're starting things off with what is now a story that is a few days old, but we missed it by the last podcast by a few days. But I think it's a really interesting story.
Well, it would have been a lot kinder of him to wait to say such a thing.
Yes, and by him we are talking about former Blizzard president Mike Ybarra.
Mm-hmm.
And so this fella goes on Twitter, X, whatever you want to call it now. Zitter, as Daniel says. And he says that he wishes that at the end of some games, he kind of wishes he could tip the devs more money than the $70 he already spent on the game.
Yeah, he's like, I know I already spent $70 and that's a lot, and we ain't trying to nickel and dime you, but like, could I just give these folks $10 or $20 more, And he cited some really sick, nasty, awesome games like Horizon Zero Dawn, God of War, Red Dead Redemption 2, Baldur's Gate, stuff like that. And he was like, I know ain't nobody going to like that I'm saying this, but man, I wish I could give these guys some more money.
And I think he did try to smooth over the idea by listing some very top tier games.
Yeah, he listed nothing but bangers.
Yeah, and the truth is, we've talked about this before. We've talked about how most games actually maybe aren't worth the $70, but there are some that maybe are potentially worth way more than $70.
Mm-hmm.
Does that mean we should want to spend that? Maybe not.
Yeah.
I think that the idea of you finish a game and you wish you could tip those devs. I think at its core, that's not like it's a horrible idea.
Mm-hmm.
I think the really horrible thing about it, not horrible, but what makes this not horrible, but what makes it have a bit of a distaste in your mouth is the fact that this is coming from former Blizzard president.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. A gaming executive saying this is a little different than us saying this.
Right.
And also why can't I just be happy that I got some value for my purchase?
Right.
You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, maybe I just spent $70, but I felt like it was worth $100. Why can't I just be happy?
Right.
Why can't I just be like, hell yeah, value? Instead, now I got to feel bad that I can't give these guys $20 more. I ain't got $20 more, Mike.
Well, I was very interested in this, and I wanted to see if it was just me. I was like, I've never wanted to tip a developer.
Anybody,
I've never thought
ever.
Okay.
Sorry.
No. It's never come up. Of course, I've been happy when a game I feel like is cheaper than I felt like it,
Mm-hmm.
I feel like I got more out of it than what I actually paid. For sure. I love that feeling. But I've never been like, man, I just want to send them guys some more money for this game. I've never personally wanted to do that myself.
No, those of us that know Randy know that he is being genuine right now.
Right.
He is a miser.
I'm not a miser. I am thrifty.
He buries his gold in the backyard.
I'm smart with my money, okay?
And when the rain comes, when a big rain comes, sometimes his piles of gold will start to float up to the top of the mud, and you'll see him out there just cussing and slinging mud everywhere, just trying to bury him.
That is not the way physics of gold works, my friend. Gold is more dense than both water or mud, so it would actually sink. It would not float.
Mm-mm. No, well, you're not stupid. You're thrifty, right? So you put buoyancy devices in your gold sacks.
Okay, we're gonna move on to the poll we did about this because I was interested if others also felt like they wanted to or did not want to tip a dev after finishing a game. So put out a poll saying, have you ever wished you could tip the devs after finishing a video game?
Yeah, at 36% people said yes, absolutely take more of my money. And at 64% people said no,
Never quite felt that way, huh? No, I've never. This was weird to me. I would have never even thought about this.
It's weird to me too. I mean, weird.
The
It's
dude did
weird.
say most people wouldn't agree, and we've seen here 64% of people say no, they do not agree with that. But we have some interesting comments about this. Interesting conversation got struck up about this. We got one from Liam Strand who said, it's called a deluxe version. Okay, so like saying, I like the game so much I'm going to buy it again as the deluxe version.
Well, maybe. I kind of took it as him saying that, if you're a fan of this team already, or that you're going to love this game, or you're hyped about this game, you buy the deluxe version off the rip is kind of what I was taking it as.
Oh, like you just initially buy the deluxe version. Because that's like saying, hey, I love you guys. I'm excited about this new game. I'm going to pay the extra for the deluxe version.
Mm-hmm, yeah.
You give me a little something, I give you a little something back.
Right. You're getting something for your extra money. Right.
Right. Interesting concept. Also, sometimes you get like ultimate editions and stuff later on. Sometimes they can be like paid upgrades, like a DLC upgrade.
Mm-hmm. So, yep. And we got another comment here talking about those DLC from Santino Pugliese.
Good attempt.
Who said, we're already tipping them by buying the DLC and microtransactions. Exactly. Again, you're getting something for your purchase. And I kind of wondered, like, is it fair for this dude, this like former gaming bigwig, to just be like, we should give them more money for getting nothing else? Because you get your DLC if you pay for it. You get your digital art books from Ubisoft games. You get soundtracks sometimes. You get all sorts of stuff from these deluxe versions. And if now we're just expected to send them some more money, that just feels weird.
Yeah. I think that what we have here is we already have a system in place that basically is that, which is the DLC or something, right? Because typically DLCs are much smaller in scope than the average game. Obviously, this is talking in generalities, but generally the DLC is much smaller in scope. Or we have those microtransactions, or we have the extra paid content that a lot of games offer. And I do think that is a way of being like, I love this game so much, I'm willing to buy that DLC, give you guys some more money for this game that I've already bought at full price.
Sure.
And it's kind of that like, no one buys the DLC unless they love the base game.
Right.
Right? So that is a way of tipping. And it's not just like you don't get anything for it.
Right. You're getting something in return for your money.
Yeah. So the system's kind of already there.
Mm-hmm. And I think both of us there's been some games we've even bought more than once.
Totally. Totally.
I can think of at least two. I know that I've paid for Sea of Thieves twice.
Same.
And I know that I have paid for Hades twice. Mm-hmm. And there's probably one or two others that I bought, like I had them on Switch and wanted them on Steam or something like that. That was the case with Hades.
Well, it just happened the other day with us with Stardew Valley. I had Stardew Valley on Switch and Xbox already, and now we had to get it on Steam because we want to stream it. So that's 3 times,
Right.
3 times buying the same game. And Stardew Valley is absolutely worth it. It's a fantastic game.
Yeah.
So that's kind of like tipping. And I don't think you have one of the comments here that said this, but some people were like, I just buy the game for a friend or something. Like, that's my way of tipping the devs. Like, get someone else into the game. That's great.
Yeah, actually, I think that may have been a comment, but I also think that that might have been in an article somewhere too. But anyway, you can totally, like on Steam, you can buy a game, gift it to a friend, and there you go.
100%. Or like, I've definitely done that with games that I really like, buying someone a gift, like, oh, it's Christmas or something. Here's a game that I loved and I think you would love too. And you've bought it twice essentially that way.
Right.
So it definitely, there seems to be already things in the way of how to do that. So it's interesting that this dude would say this. Next, we got a comment from Diana who said, what?
I just thought you were going to try the whole name, and I was really excited.
Nope, I am not. I just know it's Diana. Diana says, only thought it with BG3. Instead, I will support Larian by pre-ordering their next game. Mm-hmm. Interesting stuff about Larian. Did you hear
I did.
that Larian is not going to be doing the next Baldur's Gate game?
I heard that, yeah.
That they said they're not only they're not doing it, they're not doing DLC. Mm-hmm. They're not gonna, they're done with it. They've essentially wrapped Baldur's Gate 3. There's gonna be no more updates, no DLC. They're done with it, and they are moving on to. I think they're working on 2 other projects, and so that means Baldur's Gate is going to be shopped around and given to a different development studio for Baldur's Gate 4.
And that'll be quite a hype. Baldur's Gate 4 will generate a lot of hype with the success of 3.
Totally. I didn't realize it was like that. I think it's Hasbro owns the IP for Baldur's Gate.
Hasbro.
Yeah, really weird. I was like, Hasbro? They're the IP owners of this?
That's weird. I wonder why did Larian do that? Why did they decide to move on? Or?
Well, I mean, they didn't, they hadn't worked on the earlier Baldur's Gates. This wasn't
Right.
like, they came in and did this game.
And I guess it wasn't maybe not their call necessarily.
Well,
but
I think
by all accounts, they kind of
I'm
crushed
sure
it.
that if they wanted to, they would. But I remember, reading some interviews with some of the devs of Larian and them being like, it's pretty tough putting together a like D&D game. Like it's very restrictive in terms of like what you have to do because you have to fit it within the framework of this being a D&D game. And I think that they are just ready to do something different.
Yeah. And they
Not that they
crushed it
didn't
too.
knock it out
So
of the park,
they can
right?
like mic drop and move on, I guess.
Exactly, yeah.
And they don't need I haven't finished Baldur's Gate 3, but people who have never exactly seem to say like that the game was lacking content. So
Oh, God, no.
maybe
Yeah.
maybe you don't need a DLC. Maybe that's one of those rare cases where it's just good and it can stand on its own.
And I would rather them, if they don't want to do DLC, like, don't do DLC.
Right.
Because, I mean, heck, they were saying that like they, wanted to be more than just the Baldur's Gate 3 company.
Yeah.
At least in the interview I read.
Yeah.
Saying they had big ambitions and they want to act on those. So, but apparently, I think it was like I said, I think it's Hasbro. As weird as it is,
That's super weird.
we're saying that they were already like looking for the next dev studio to be put together the next Baldur's Gate because of course they do.
Yeah.
After coming off Baldur's Gate 3, which won every major Game of the Year award from the major publications.
I'll do it, Hasbro.
Give it to Daniel. Imagine if, Daniel, you've never made a game, and they're like, you know what? You get Baldur's Gate 4. And you're like, okay. I would love to see that game come out, and it would be...
After I crap my britches,
you'd have to start hiring. You'd have to start looking for a
well,
really
they'd have
good
to give
team
me quite a budget, and I demand quite a salary. So
for yourself.
yeah, I mean, because I can't actually do any of the work, but I'm a visionary, is what I am. Mm-hmm. And I'm gonna need a hiring budget, Hasbro.
I'm sure they're willing to do it. Hasbro,
Be in touch.
call up Daniel.
Get my people.
Let's get G&G on this. Mm-hmm. All right, hit us with this next comment that we have about old tipping these things. This is from who? Sarah Dinus.
Saurodonis said, "There's no chance in this earth that if you tip the developers after a game, they'd actually get the entire tip. I'm sure the publishers and or the platform would get most of said tip, and they'd probably create a tip battle pass or something stupid like that too."
I love that. They probably create a tip battle pass.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, like, how do you divide up a tip when you're talking about some dev teams have hundreds of people working on it?
Right.
Like, how do you decide, like, who are you even tipping at that point?
And how are we going to know? Like, how are the people actually giving that money going to know at all where it's going?
Yes, exactly.
I mean, there'd have to be like such a level of transparency that I don't think these guys are capable of.
Yeah, we joked. I think this pretty much exact same comment came up on our Discord channel. And I was like, well, maybe at the end credits, every developer just has their personal Venmo listed next to their name. You'd be like, oh, man, I really loved the artwork. Let me tip the people who are like the environmental artists. Let me just go and tip them only.
And that's funny. Like for something like Baldur's Gate, that would be hilarious.
Yeah.
Because obviously, a ton of people worked on it because it did not meet the indie qualifications. But anyway, there are a lot of indie games that do have like virtual tip jars and things like that.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
So like it does exist already, kind of, for the people who maybe need it.
Right. And that's the thing is like we're talking about, obviously this is just, it's just kind of funny coming from, the ex-president of Blizzard, like one of the largest gaming companies ever. And it's like, it just kind of seems like, and the thing is, the games he listed are all fantastic games.
Yeah.
But those are not games where like tipping, a person tipping after the fact is going to make like a huge difference on when you spread it out amongst all the people who have worked on those games.
Right. And he didn't mention WoW. I thought that was funny.
He didn't mention because
he didn't mention WoW, but
no, of course he didn't. I mean, it's like he mentioned like a bunch of like Sony games, which are pretty funny. What were the games he listed? Like you said earlier, Horizon Zero Dawn, Sony, God of War, Sony. Okay, Red Dead Redemption 2. I remember it's a Rockstar, but I mean, like, come on. Baldur's Gate 3. Okay, that one I think people would tend to get behind, but still, that's a huge development studio.
Yeah.
Elden
Ring.
On like a huge budget. And then Elden Ring. Okay, I mean, like, these are some of the biggest hard-hitting games we've had in the past, 5 years or so.
And Kena Bridge of Spirits.
Oh, and Kena Bridge of Spirits. He didn't bring that one up.
I'm surprised.
Speaking of, I'm sure you heard, Kena's coming to Xbox.
Kena's coming home, boys.
A lot of people call that game Kena Bridge of Spirits.
Well, not us.
No, we say Kena, and we've played the game.
Yeah.
So, and I'm pretty sure in the game, I don't remember what they said. Did they ever call Kena by her name?
I think they said Kena. I don't know, man. I don't know. I think I had seen videos on YouTube of people talking about it, calling her Kena before we played it, and that's probably why I always said it. But yeah, we do have one last comment here. From Steve Davies, and it's hard hitting. Steve said, "Here's a tip: try releasing the game complete, not buggy and loaded with DLC."
Yep, there's a tip.
Lol.
Yeah, I mean, but that's kind of where we're at now. As sad as it is, I mean, like lots of games release super buggy and loaded with DLC, and they're just like begging for your money, and it puts such a bad taste in your mouth. I mean, that's like the whole last week we talked about Star Wars Outlaws.
Yeah.
Well, obviously we don't know that Star Wars Outlaws is going to release buggy, but it wouldn't be the first Star Wars game to release buggy. If it did,
it's not George Lucas's fault. Okay,
No.
It's EA's fault mainly.
Yeah, but now we have Ubisoft.
I know.
Maybe Ubisoft can do it now. Who knows?
Maybe.
But loaded with DLC. I mean, it's like they're asking you to pay for a season pass that you don't even know what's in the season pass.
I can't even go see Jabba the Hutt without buying that damn season pass.
That's not true, but
what do you mean that's not true?
they did clarify that that's not the only mission. It's just a mission that involves Jabba the Hutt. But it's not the only mission.
Oh, you're saying
there are a lot of other missions in the game that revolve around Jabba the Hutt. It's just that particular mission that is also tied to Jabba the Hutt is behind it.
So the best one.
Maybe, probably. I mean, who knows? We don't know that.
Yeah.
But
okay. Well, as long as I can see my favorite space slug, I mean.
Well, I mean, when you talk about a game that is literally about space outlaws, and then it's like, that was really some bad PR for them, because if it really was like the only mission that was but Jabba the Hutt, you'd be like, seriously, that's what this game is like. This game is an outlaw.
I mean, Jabba the Hutt's like obviously the most famous crime lord in Star Wars. So
seriously.
So by the way, I think they missed a little bit of an opportunity here to have the game set a little earlier in the Star Wars canonical timeline when Darth Maul was like one of the heads of the crime underworld. I think that would have been freaking awesome. Just throwing that out there.
They would have had to set it quite a bit earlier, but they could have done it.
It would have been super metal. Next time, consult me.
Yeah. Talk to Daniel before you make your Star Wars games, y'all. You should know this by now.
I mean, not that I don't love Jabba, but he's been done before. Darth Maul's cool. Anyway, guys, we're about to move on. But first, we want to tell you about our Twitch. So we stream on Twitch an awful lot. We do it every Tuesday, Thursday, Sunday, most Mondays, a lot of Fridays, and a fair amount of Saturdays. Honestly, the only day we pretty much don't do is Wednesday.
Basically, we stream almost every day.
Almost every day. But Saturdays and Fridays are iffy. That's all I'm trying to get at. But yeah, we do it at 8 p.m. Eastern, and we play a pretty big variety of games and a lot of Sea of Thieves.
Yes, we'd love for you to come hang out with us. There is a link to the Twitch channel. You can follow us and find out when we go live if you go to the Twitch channel and follow us. That's how it works, right?
And ring that noti bell.
That noti bell. Jeez. Okay, so moving on to our next topic. One of the things that happened this week is there was a survey that came out that surveyed game developers. I think it surveyed something like hundreds of games.
600.
Okay, 600 game
it's
developers.
Right there in your outline.
Oh, I should. If only I could read, Daniel. That's the problem. You can't put things in front of me that I can't read.
My bad, dude.
And one of the questions that was on this survey was basically, I think it was how concerned are you about the sustainability of live service business models commonly in use at present? Basically saying hey, what do you think about all these live service games? Do you think they're going to help? Do you think they're going to hurt? What do you think?
Right. And about 70% of these 600 interviewed game developers are concerned about the sustainability of the live service model.
Yeah, it's interesting. Like, if over half the people who are making these games are concerned that, like, oh, the games we're currently putting a lot of time and effort into, we're worried that they may not be sustainable.
Yeah.
That brings up a lot of questions.
And it's a subgenre literally built on sustaining too, which I think is kind of funny. But it has all these like little broken down reasons.
Like why are you worried about it?
Yeah. And I thought these were pretty interesting. At 63%, people said that it was just players losing interest.
Yeah.
And that is so me.
Yeah. Yeah. Because that is a problem with a live service game. It's like once people aren't interested anymore, you're done. Like there's no more income. Whereas a traditional game, you know, they're like, it's meant to lose interest. Like you're supposed to play it and then you're done with it.
Right.
Like, cause then you're done with it.
And why am I losing interest? Well, because I'm one of the players that are already playing other competing live service games, which is what 62% of the devs are worried about.
Yeah.
Because I play Sea of Thieves. So
Yeah.
I don't give a crap much about these other live service games because I've already got one or two that I'm in, you know?
And you just can't have that many going at a time.
You cannot do it.
You can, you know, it's like funny. It's like you can dabble in them and you can play them a few times. And even if you enjoy them, it's like, but I can't sink all my time into this game because that's how they are. They demand your time. So
Yeah.
if you've already got a game or two that you're already playing, it's already got that time.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And a game would have to come along and be hella good. I mean,
good.
like way better than the other games that you've already invested so much time into. But the problem is even if they're better, you've already sunk so much time into these other games that you're not going to want to go away from them.
Right. Yeah, you're totally right. And you're incentivized because of that time sink to just stay with it.
Right. That's why we've seen, like, ever since Fortnite came out and became the king, Fortnite's still the king. You know what I mean?
Oh, yeah.
Like, there still hasn't been a game that is following the live service model who have come along and been able to dethrone Fortnite. I mean, there's been temporary dethrones for sure. But at the end of the day, like, Fortnite still, those people who move away from it for a little bit to try another game, they always come back.
Yeah. I mean, we moved away from it and we haven't come back, but it wasn't our first love.
No, it wasn't. No, it wasn't.
We like visited in Fortnite land
Right.
and had a lot of fun.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, there's just only so much time in the day. There's only so much time you have to dedicate to games. And you just can't play them all. And when there's so many like this, I'm not surprised they're concerned about them because there's such a risk. So
100%.
crazy stuff.
So, you know, this survey was obviously aimed at developers, but we wanted to know, what about gamers? What do gamers think about this? Are they concerned about the impact of live service games? Put out a poll saying, what is the impact of live service games on the gaming industry as a whole?
Right. At 6%, people said they're good. They're 6%. They're good for the gaming industry. At 22%, people said they are neither good nor bad. At 8%, people said they didn't know. Did I mention 6% said they were good? At 64%, people said they're bad for the gaming industry.
I mean, we all expected, I guess we expected everyone to say that they're bad for the gaming industry. What's weird is that they are, I mean, you look up, we've talked about this many times on the podcast. You go look at what the top 10 games being played right now are, like almost without fail, always 10 out of 10 are live service games.
Yeah. And I mean, I'm not trying to criticize because I like them and I sink a ton of time into a couple, but yeah, it's kind of annoying seeing them at the top of like the lists.
Like always.
I
mean, there might be a hot like single player game come on and it'll temporarily be in the top 10, but then once it's gone, it's back to being all live service games.
Yeah,
it's kind of sad. But that being said, we love and play these live service games, so it's interesting that people play them, yet they think that they're bad for the gaming industry.
Yeah.
Very weird dichotomy we have here. But let's read some comments here. Our first comment is from Celeria Rose, who said, neither good nor bad. The companies abusing them are the problem. The concept of live service games themselves are fine. It's like with anything else. It can be done well and fairly, or it can be used poorly to try to gouge players. It just depends on which way it's utilized. Even if you took away live service games, the companies abusing it would just find a new sleazy tactic because they are the real problem.
Yeah, and I really like this comment because I think I agree with it. I don't think it's necessarily the model of a game that you support over time that is the problem. I think the thing that pisses everybody off is the gouging and the crazy over monetization that comes with a lot of these games.
Yes.
So where should we put our anger? That's what I'm trying to say, you know?
Well, it really does suck because it's like, obviously gamers are a little peeved at the fact that live service games are just pushed down our throats all the time.
Yeah.
And so, I don't know. But at the same time, we have like, say like Helldivers 2 come around.
Yeah.
What are you laughing about?
I'm laughing because I'm looking at the comment and I tried to say Q Helldivers 2 comment and I accidentally wrote K Helldivers 2 comment. Like what in Spanish, you know, K?
Yeah, I see that. You did the wrong letter there, Daniel. I know Q sounds like it starts with a Q. It actually starts with a C.
Well, there's a Q line that is like Queue, I think. Something like that.
Yeah.
So I think that's what I was going for, but I spelled it wrong.
Well, let's talk about Helldivers 2 because you know that is a game that is a live service game through and through. I mean, it's just a straight up live service game. Yet for some reason, it has avoided some of the trappings and problems. At least people don't hate on it.
Yeah, it's definitely it's one that always comes up in these conversations, and I've brought it up a bunch of times on this podcast already when we talk about live service games. But we have a comment here from I Love Music, who said, I guarantee the majority of those who said they're bad for gaming would say Helldivers 2 is okay. They have no principles. Whatever is hype and viral is okay, but anything which is demonized by the mob is not. What do you think about that, Randy?
I think that there is both a degree of truth to this, and there's a little bit that's maybe not so true. Okay, first of all, saying that like Helldivers 2 gets a pass, I think there are two reasons that Helldivers 2 gets a pass, and one of them is a legit reason, and one of them is maybe a not so legit reason. I think let's start with the why. Well, it's not so legit. Like maybe people are being a little two-faced.
Yeah. Okay.
So I think that the reason it gets a pass is because it's a good game. Like it's fun. So people are just like, they kind of give the live service things a pass. And I think that's what this commenter is saying. It's like Helldivers 2 is okay just because it's a good game.
Yeah.
But it still is a live service game and it still has plenty of monetization. And it is, you know, it's not like it's the most upfront monetization of a live service game, but there's
upfront. You mean like?
I mean, like in your face.
Oh yeah,
in your face, like trying to get you to buy stuff. But there are still plenty of opportunities to buy stuff in Helldivers 2. Let's not pretend like there's not.
Yeah, I mean, there's a rotating store of 4 items.
Well, yeah. And there's also, if you want to buy that premium currency so that you can do the other things, you don't have to do that. You can earn those things in game, but you can
For the premium war bonds.
Yes,
yeah.
exactly. And they're definitely, you know, always right there in front of you. And if you haven't spent a whole lot of time in the game and sunk into getting that premium currency that is very rare, you're going to be tempted to buy that kind of stuff.
True.
True. But I think people give it a pass because it's a really good game.
Yeah.
So I think that's where people are being a little two-faced.
I agree. But I do think it's important to point out that while it does have these premium, you know, essentially battle passes, they call them war bonds, but while it does have these and they are there, like anytime you go to that page, it is there.
They're there, yeah.
They never go away. Whereas like in a Fortnite or something like that, if you buy the premium battle pass or even Sea of Thieves, which we're going to talk about later, there is a time limit to when you can finish that. And if you don't finish it, it's gone.
Yep.
That never happens in Helldivers. And that's something that a lot of people are saying is great. Because it removes the FOMO aspect because you can buy that at any time.
Right. And that's kind of brings me to my like thing where I'm saying like, I think that it gets a pass, but I think it's a little more legit pass is the fact that they're doing monetization a little different than a lot of other live service games do it. And they're trying to do it in a way that does offer some goodwill towards the player. And by that same respect, players have goodwill towards the game.
Yeah.
So I think that, yes, people are giving it a pass because it's a good game. And they're like, okay, well, it's fun. It's the new hotness. I'm going to give it a pass. But at the same time, they are doing things different.
They are.
Yeah.
And it's like something that they wanted. Like they were very upfront about the fact that they were trying to do that. And I think it's a little refreshing personally.
Yes.
But I do agree. I think it's a little both sides, talking out both sides of my mouth.
For sure.
A little bit, yeah.
A little bit. You can't just ignore the fact that it is a live service game that does rely, not exclusively, but a fair good bit on people making microtransactions and buying these paid DLCs, not DLCs, but like these battle pass type things and cosmetics and stuff like it's part of the game.
It is. It is.
Okay. So, and that, you have here on a thing question, you have, do we praise Helldivers because it's hype and viral or because it's really doing things differently or both? And I think this is definitely a both instance.
Yeah, I agree.
100%.
I agree.
Okay, let's see what old Morris Dennison, our favorite name on the
Favorite
internet.
name and one of the newest members of the Discord community, which we'll tell you about in a minute.
Yeah. Old Morris Dennison says, live service games are designed to steal your time. And with so many of them being out there, the user has to pick your favorites. The live service market is a survival of the fittest ecosystem. We will watch over the next couple of years, probably 95% of them. And as we've seen countless times, they are bankrupting studios. Sorry, I'm struggling with this. This is actually a good thing because companies that have existed in the mainstream will disappear and leave room for the little guy.
Good job, buddy.
Whew, I struggle. I don't know what it was about that comment. I was not reading it well.
It's because you were nervous.
That was
because
what it was.
We
so
care
nervous.
a lot about what Morris says, and we want to deliver it with conviction
And gusto.
and sometimes you swing and a miss.
Yeah, and this is one of those times, swing and a miss.
Yeah, but I did think this was really interesting.
Yes.
Specifically the part about, well, it's good because if these companies swing and miss, and they go bankrupt and they move over and the little guy moves in, fair enough, I thought that was interesting.
Like if they jump on this hype train, so they're hungry for money. Maybe that trying to get all the money from the players is not going to be a winning tactic for them.
Right.
Because it only works for about maybe 5% of the games that actually try to do this.
And there's a million of them. So,
Right.
Yeah, and I get that. But my question was like, are the little guys really going to move in? Or is it just going to be the next big guy taking another swing at it?
Or is it just going to be that we're going to have like a monopoly situation where there's like, once all the other companies get out, these games that are already at the top who have succeeded, are they just going to continue to grow? Because that's what we're seeing with Fortnite. We're seeing it there now when instead of playing a new game, you just play a new, mode in Fortnite and it's like still in the Fortnite ecosystem. And it can be a completely different game, not even related to Fortnite, but it's in Fortnite.
You said Fortnite ecosystem.
Dude, that's exactly what it is.
That's nuts.
That's exactly what it is.
Yeah. Can you still play Lego Fortnite, or am I way behind on that?
I'm pretty sure you can. I don't think they're taking it out.
Really?
As far as
What
I
about
know.
that racing mode? Can you still race?
As far as I know. I mean, there's like a Guitar Hero in Fortnite
What?
now. You didn't know about this?
No. I don't play
They
Fortnite.
know so far behind the times, y'all.
I just sail my little sloop around and, reload my blunderbuss. I don't know nothing.
Well,
I don't know nothing. I don't know jack about no Fortnites.
you got to get back on there and see what all kinds of games there are. I mean, it is like, now that we have Disney partnering with Fortnite, I wouldn't be surprised if the next Star Wars game that comes out is in Fortnite.
No.
What if it happens? I'm not saying it couldn't happen.
Facts, no cap on God. If that happens, I will be so pissed for real, for real.
I mean, but it could definitely happen. Think about it, man. Think
I
about
don't
how
wanna.
Think about you get a new Star Wars game. Of course, and they want it to be a live service game. Well, we have Disney partnering with Fortnite. Why not just make it part of Fortnite? It's going to be expected to be a live service game. You already have tons of people who are in the Fortnite ecosystem who play Fortnite daily. They're going to see that game. It could drive tons of players to whatever new Star Wars game they have coming out.
I don't like a bit of that.
Yeah. And
But
not only that, they've already got the character models ready to go.
Yeah, they do. As I say that, I have the Anakin Skywalker skin. I mean,
Right.
I have some Star Wars skins in Fortnite. I'm part of the problem here.
Right.
I know that. I've always known that.
Yep.
Okay. Well, now that you've made me really sad, we got one more comment here from Mo Trash, who said, live service games allow for money-grabbing companies to push out constant content with very little quality control. Battle passes with random skins or limited-time events that change one aspect of a game for a week aren't lovingly crafted games. Games should be completable to a degree, like a movie or a book has an ending. As with all things in moderation and the right situation, it can work, but a majority fall to greed and a lack of quality control. Control.
Yeah.
Yeah, you kind of mentioned this earlier about how games should be completable.
Well, I don't know about completable. I mean, like, I understand that like certain games don't work as a single player game. And like to say it's completable, it almost has to be like a single player offline experience. And certain games just don't work that way. Sea of Thieves I guess you could have like a single player offline mode, but the actual game, it's not the same game at that point. It has a different type of thing. Fortnite, if you had an offline single player mode, maybe you were playing against all bots, it's still, it'd be kind of Fortnite, I guess, but it wouldn't be the same game.
No, I'd be way too good at it.
Yeah. But that being said, there is a big push right now for games to have some sort of, life after death. Like these live service games. We're finally getting to the point where some of these live service games are dying. They're being taken offline. And, it begs the question of like, you had a person who paid full price for this. Now they can't do anything with it. What kind of, repayment should be put towards the person who purchased this game? Should they have their money refunded? Should they have it partially refunded?
We should at least be tipped.
Well, yeah, that would be great. Or should the game have some sort of offline mode have to be implemented if it's going to be taken away? Like, there are a lot of questions here, and I don't know if there are any clear answers.
Honestly, I'm not really one of these people that I just honestly I don't know that I agree that games have to be around forever. If I'm being honest, like if you played a live service game and you put 1,400 hours into it, and 8 years later you can't play it anymore, you didn't get your money. You didn't get your money's worth out of that. Like
I don't know that it's just that though. I don't think like for game preservation's sake, like there should be a way for people to continue to play them, whether it be private servers or.
Now that's a good idea. I like the private server thing.
Like open it up so that it can still be played in some way for the people who want to play it. Like if a game no one wants to play it, if they still have the access to have a private server, at least it's there.
Right.
And if it does want to be played, people will step up to the plate and create a private server so that people can actually put this together and actually do it.
Well, maybe if they just open it up for that, then there you go. Problem solved.
But that's not exactly what's happening. We have Ubisoft, like we talked about this last week with The Crew.
Yep.
They're taking it down and then they're revoking people's access to they're like removing your ownership of the license to the game, which is ridiculous.
That is ridiculous.
But that's what we have.
Yeah, that is ridiculous. It's tough. I mean, I don't know, man. I just always kind of felt like it was unfair for people to. Now the private server thing definitely fixes it.
Yeah.
But I've always felt like it was unfair for people to almost suggest that games have to stay online forever. Like, it just can't be done.
It just something about it doesn't feel right. And what I'm thinking is like, what if 20 years from now, Sea of Thieves doesn't exist, and you just want to be like, man, I wish I could still play Sea of Thieves. You can go back and play Banjo-Kazooie. You can take that cartridge, you can put it in your N64, and you can play it. Or you can emulate it, you can do anything. But here's the thing, you can't even go back and emulate Sea of Thieves because the game just won't work.
Yeah.
Period. And so it's like, what do you do for preservation of this game? Does it just get lost? Does it become lost media? Like, what happens to it?
I don't know. Better to have sailed and sunk than to have never sailed at all.
Daniel getting philosophical over here. Well, speaking of Sea of Thieves, that's our next topic. But first, I want to tell you guys about our Discord server. If you'd like to join the Gaming Gig Discord server, it is a great place to be. And it's a very welcoming Discord server. There is an invite link in the description of this podcast, wherever you're watching or listening to it.
That's right. We'd love to have you. All right. So, Randy, we kind of have a favorite live service game. And I am speaking for you when I say that.
Yeah. Oh, no. It is my favorite live service game. For sure.
Sea of Thieves has become near and dear to our hearts. I recently passed my 1,000-hour mark of playing. I'm very proud.
Good for you, man.
I don't remember the soft touch of grass or the warmth of sun on my body. But great. I can reload a blunderbuss.
Yeah.
Anyway, Sea of Thieves, recently hit a little bit of a milestone.
That's right. Rare announced that Sea of Thieves has now had 40 million people play it, which is a crazy number. I mean, 40 million is like...
That's a lot of people.
That is some insane numbers.
That's a lot of pirates.
Very few games ever have hit the 40 million player mark. I mean, it's not like it's a record setter, but still, it's huge.
It's huge.
And this is before it has moved on to PlayStation, which is definitely going to give it, I'd say, at least a few more million.
Definitely.
So very interesting that they have hit 40 million. I think there's an interesting thing here. We have 40 million people who have played it, yet we put out a poll asking people if they had played Sea of Thieves.
Right.
And only 30% of people said that they had played it. 70% said, no, I've not even played the game.
Yeah, I found that kind of interesting too. And I wonder if it's just like a product of our audience. Maybe our audience is just not into that.
Well, I mean, that could be it. That could be it. I'd say that maybe what has happened is that 40 million people have played it because it has been on Game Pass
Since day one.
since day one. Well, maybe not. Well, yeah.
Yeah,
I guess
it
so.
was.
Yeah.
Yes, it was.
So it's been on Game Pass, and it is one of those games that if you load up Game Pass, Sea of Thieves is right there. Like it is always, it's almost the poster child of Game Pass in a way. So I think a lot of casuals load up Game Pass and are like, let's try Sea of Thieves.
Yeah. And there
Anyone
you
who
go.
gets it.
One. That adds one.
And then they play it for about 5 minutes, realize that it is not the game for them, because it is not the game for a lot of people, I'll say.
100%. It's a toughie.
It's very, very difficult to learn. It has probably the largest learning curve out of any game that I've ever played.
Yeah. And
Not to scare anybody off from playing it, but it's just the truth.
That's not good for Randy.
No, it's not. I don't know how. And the thing is, I'm the one that got you into it.
I know.
Which is super weird.
Yeah. Well, you had this guitar student who was really into it, and he kept telling you about it. And
He kept like begging me to play it.
yeah. And finally you were like, okay, Daniel, we need to play Sea of Thieves. And yeah, you got me into it, and I got hooked pretty hard.
Yeah, I played it like once or twice, and I was like, I think this game has some potential, man. I think we can enjoy this. Yeah, I mean, like, so, but anyways, it has a huge learning curve. It is not beginner friendly. The game doesn't do a good job at introducing players into the game. It's one of its weakest aspects.
Oh, yeah.
It has a piss poor tutorial.
Piss poor.
It really is. It's very bad. It just doesn't do a good job of getting you into the game. It's got a PPT. It's got a PPT.
All right. Well, we got some comments here about this here PPT. First comment from Plus Cosplays, who said, it's super fun, and I love the game, but it's only available on certain consoles, and I don't have any friends, cry. My friend has a PlayStation, and it's not available for her to play. It's just not fun to play for me to play by myself. Well, you're right. It's hard to play by yourself, but you are in luck, because in exactly 8 days from the day that this podcast gets released, your friend will be able to play this on PlayStation.
Yep, it's coming to PlayStation, and I think that's super exciting, and I do think it's going to help it quite a bit. I wish it was also coming to Switch. I think that would have been awesome, but
that would be awesome.
Apparently they didn't want to do that, although I think it totally could have run on Switch with its like bare minimum settings. I think they could have worked it out.
Probably.
It runs on Xbox One.
True.
So I think they could have got it to work on Switch, but that is neither here nor there. Maybe they struggled with it.
Yeah.
Or maybe they're waiting to put it on whatever
the
comes
Super Switch.
on the Switch 2.
And then the Super Nintendo Entertainment Switch.
That could be it. Maybe it's going to be a launch title. If they get it as a launch title on the next Switch,
I'll buy it for the third time.
There you go. So, yeah, that's pretty cool.
So I enjoyed that comment.
Yeah, that was our like one positive comment about the game, which is so weird because so many negative comments. We got the next comment we have is from Watchful One, who says 106.4 hours of my life utterly wasted. At least 25 of those were in loading screens, at least. Well, first of all, if you spent 106 hours playing a game, I don't think you wasted it. I think you probably enjoyed it. I'm going to go out and say it.
Wow.
You like Sea of Thieves.
Calling them out.
Calling
them out.
No.
Wow.
The load times can be atrocious, especially on Xbox One.
Yeah, I know that life. And
you
it was
played
rough.
it on Xbox One.
Quite a bit.
Yeah.
And yeah, it took... Randy would load into the game. Well, you were playing it on...
I was playing it on Series X.
You were playing on Series X, and Randy would load into the game like twice as fast as me.
Yeah.
And I'd be just like sitting there listening to that little bo-rom song.
That was before you got your Series X. Mm-hmm. I've had very low or very long load times even on my old PC. Like it took forever to load on that. Mm-hmm. So it just depends on what you're playing on. Xbox One, if you have a lower powered PC, you're going to be in some loading screens. Luckily, it's just that initial loading screen, but it can be, well, also if you want you black screen
screens.
and stuff.
Black screens are rough, dude, on my Xbox One.
Yeah.
Oh my God, taking a merm. That's where black screen hell came from.
Yeah.
Shoo.
It can be bad. It can be really bad. So,
All right.
but at the same time, you spent 100 hours playing it. You couldn't have hated it, right? Am I wrong here? Have you ever played a game for 100 hours and been like, I hated that game?
No,
No.
Of course
Because if you
not.
hated the game, you weren't going to play it even close to 100 hours.
I wouldn't.
Unless
no.
you're a masochist.
Or a freaking gamer.
I'm just a game. I'll do it all.
Yeah. Next comment from Steve Davies. I think it's the second Steve comment of the day, but I could not leave this one out.
This is second Steve comment.
Steve said, "Yep, most boring game I've played for years." And my question, Steve, is why did you play it for years then?
I'm so glad that you got to make this joke.
Why?
Why'd you play it for years?
If it was boring, why did you play it for years?
Daniel, before we started the podcast, we were like looking through the outline. He's like, I call this joke. I'm making this joke.
I did, yeah. I put the comment in and I said, "Oh my God, why did he play it for years?" I call that joke. Oh, I'm just messing with you, Steve. I get what you're saying. And
No, I mean, like, especially if you just jump in by yourself, I think that Sea of Thieves could come across as quite boring, actually.
for sure.
Like, we're like, what is there to do in this game?
I prefer to call it relaxing.
Okay. And I think that when you're playing it solo, it becomes a different game, and it is all about relaxation.
Until the bloodshed starts.
Yeah, it's actually just like relaxation with intermittent, just like being super pissed because you just got dumped on. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah. I think playing solo becomes like a stealth pirate simulator.
Yeah.
Because it's like, you just got to find somebody to tuck on. Because I'm just not good enough to sink even half a way of a competent crew by myself. Mm-hmm. I'm just not good enough solo. All right, hit us with this next comment.
All right, we got a comment from Michael Holmes who says, "Sea of garbage.
Whoa.
Rare haven't made a good game since the N64 days, and when they do make a game, it's like Duke Nukem Forever. It takes forever to make."
That's why they called it that.
Yeah, that is. No, I mean, like, I'm torn about, we have Rare making Sea of Thieves. I'm torn on this because Rare obviously is a very storied developer who used to put out banger after banger after banger on the N64. That was back when they basically, were being contracted by Nintendo to make stuff. They made Donkey Kong games.
Donkey Kong Country. They made Donkey Kong 64, Diddy Kong Racing, Banjo-Kazooie.
Yeah, they made games
Conker's Bad Fur Day.
They made games that weren't Nintendo IP, but they were like, Rare was probably one of, if not the most popular developer there during the N64 era.
For sure.
And now,
and even before it, like with Donkey Kong Country.
Right, exactly. During the Super Nintendo. So Rare is, got quite the legacy that they're working with. And then it seems like ever since they were purchased by Microsoft, they just, they couldn't find their footing. And then, now Sea of Thieves is probably like 6 years old, I reckon now. It's a bit older now.
6th anniversary. Yeah, just happened.
So the thing is, it took them a little while to get Sea of Thieves out, and then now they're all consumed by Sea of Thieves. It doesn't seem like there's another game in their future that's not Sea of Thieves.
Yeah, which, because I love Sea of Thieves, I'm okay. But, if Rare somehow were to find their way back to making me a Donkey Kong game,
right,
I would support that wholeheartedly.
Yeah, I don't think there's any chance of that, obviously, because Rare is, Microsoft out. Microsofted out. But it would be cool, but I don't know what the future of Rare is. It would be awesome to see them move on from Sea of Thieves, maybe. Sea of Thieves 2, No, there's no point. Sea of Thieves is one of those games that doesn't need a sequel.
It just needs to be updated.
It just needs to be updated.
Yeah.
There's no point in what could you even do with a Sea of Thieves 2 that you couldn't do in an update?
Sea of Thieves, 2 Seas of Thieves.
We've talked about it.
Multiple seas.
We've said it before. Ocean of Thieves.
Ocean of Thieves. Heist Ocean. Heist River. Heist Creek.
Okay. I'm going to stop you there so that we can move on to our next and final topic. So, this week, Assassin's Creed Mirage got not a demo, but they got a free trial where you could play through, I think it's the first 5 hours of the game, I think it was.
Is it 5?
I think it was 5 hours, which is crazy because it's not that long of a game. I'd say it's maybe a 15-hour game, which is much shorter for an Assassin's Creed game.
Yeah.
So, getting to play for maybe potentially the first third of the game, which is wild. I think it was 5 hours. I could be wrong about that. And I think this is interesting. I brought up the conversation of, like about demos and free trials, and it seems like that's come back.
It does. And, we saw it with Stellar Blade. Saw it with like Final Fantasy 16. It's cool. I think it's great.
I think it is awesome because I think it's a great move, especially for Assassin's Creed Mirage, which is a game that I've talked about how much I love that game.
Did you play it?
Oh yes, I loved it. I really did genuinely really like the game. I thought it was a great step in the right direction for Assassin's Creed. I had quite a bit of fun playing it. People are going to hate on it because it's Ubisoft and Assassin's Creed, of course. But I think they made some good moves with it. And I think putting out a free trial for it is the right move because I think that it gives people the opportunity to come in and try it without putting their money down.
Yeah.
And see if they can get some of that goodwill back.
Well, I think it's a really good move for me personally because, like you said, getting this goodwill back, I don't have any.
Right now.
For Assassin's Creed. I just don't have any. So I'm going to download this.
Yeah.
And, if I like it, maybe I'll pick it up and play it. I don't know. But the fact that I can try it just to see if the hype is real, that's good. I like that. Thank you, Ubisoft. Did I just actually say that?
Well, they did this with Prince of Persia, the new Prince of Persia game, too. They also
and I played that one, too.
So it's
I played that demo.
It's good that we're seeing these demos come out because it gives you a chance to actually try the game. And it reminds me so much of back in like the PS2, GameCube era.
Yeah.
When it felt like demos were just like everywhere.
They passed them out in magazines.
Yeah, magazines. Heck, I think it was it Pizza Hut that you'd get demos? I remember going to a restaurant and getting demo discs from things.
I don't remember that.
I want to say it was Pizza Hut.
They like sticking in your pizza box?
I don't remember. It was so long as a kid. I just remember.
Just pull out this greasy ass PlayStation.
I want to say you just like bought pizza and then you'd get a demo disc from Pizza Hut. I think it was Pizza Hut.
Maybe they hid it in the dough. Maybe it was cooked into the pizza.
McDonald's, I think you get it with Happy Meal. I think you get a demo disc with a Happy Meal. I think that was a thing sometimes.
I don't remember that either.
Dude, back in the day, back during that PlayStation 2 era, GameCube, original Xbox, demos that was a thing.
I remember a lot of magazine demos.
For sure.
I don't remember the Mickey D's demos, but I mean.
You don't remember Pizza Hut demos?
No, but maybe you're right.
Cereal boxes?
Oh, I remember cereal boxes. Yeah.
In cereal, you'd get demos.
Yeah, I remember
Crazy.
that. Mm-hmm. These kids these days.
They don't know.
They don't know what true fun is. Opening up your Lucky Charms and realizing you can play the new, I don't know.
Whatever game comes, the new,
game.
Get this, game.
How cool is that? So anyway, we asked the Gaming Gig faithful, how often do you play a demo or a free trial before buying the full game when they are available? Hit us, Coyote.
Right. So 8% of people said always. We got 14% of people who say often. 40%, who was the bulk, said sometimes. And then 37 say rarely, never. So, people are trying them, but we don't have a whole lot of oftens and alwayses. It seems like people aren't taking advantage of them. I wonder why.
I am a sometimes.
I'm a sometimes as well.
And the reason I don't always do it is because I only do it for games that I'm interested in.
Yeah, I tend to do that. I tend to do it for games that I already have some sort of interest in. But I especially like to do it for games that I know, like, I have interested in, but I'm kind of like leaning towards no.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Not always. I can, if I'm like leaning towards yes, I'll try the demo.
Yeah.
But only if I'm really on the fence about it. If I'm already really interested in the game, I kind of don't want to play the demo.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And there were some people in the comments saying similar things to that. Mm-hmm. But I'm with you though. I'm like the most recent one I played was Stellar Blade, and I did have some interest in that game. I can't quite put my finger on why.
Yeah.
But I did have some interest in that game, but I was not sold necessarily, and I played the demo, and pre-ordered the game. So like,
you did not pre-order the game.
No, I didn't, but I did enjoy.
And
the
I
demo.
pre-ordered the deluxe edition, which comes with some great cosmetic packs, by the way, guys.
Yeah, definitely. But I'm with you. And honestly, I kind of do it for games I'm leaning towards no as well.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. I rarely do it for games that I have no interest in. I'm like, why would I even want to try the demo?
Yeah.
But the kind of like John Adams here, and this is a founding father, is commenting saying, why would you not want to try a game before you buy it? And yeah, I agree. But if I already know that I want it, I usually don't try the demo. Maybe that's bad. Maybe I should try it because maybe
Yeah.
I would realize like, heck, this isn't exactly what I thought it was going to be.
Yep.
I thought I would want to buy it, but now I realize I don't. Like if I had been able to play the demo of the newest Mario Golf game, I would not have bought that game.
Right. Probably not.
Definitely not. That game was trash.
Yeah. You know, the only reason I could think of when I read this comment, whereas maybe you might not want to play a demo, is maybe you're just avoiding spoilers and you want the whole package all at once. But
Yeah, that's kind of one of the reasons I lean towards not playing the demo. But I also don't like the fact that the demo usually comes out like a month or so before the game, and I'll play the demo and it's usually one sitting. Right, demos are usually pretty bite sized. And then I've got like a wait a month to play the rest of the game. So if I played like a couple hours of the beginning of the game, then I come back in and I'm like, I almost would want to replay those first few hours anyway.
true.
So I'm like, what's
Not
the
every
point?
demo is that, though.
No, but especially if it is just the first bit of the game. If I don't have the opportunity to buy it immediately after,
Yeah.
like if it's early, I'll just be like, I'm just going to wait.
Right.
Play the full game.
Well, we had another comment here that kind of provided a little bit of a counterpoint that I never, ever would have thought of. This is from Derek Minna, who said, I'm too weird about the Switch tracking my playtime to play a demo. I don't like having a separate entry for the demo and also don't like it missing some of my played hours. And there are people out there who worry about those stats. We know some of them. But
Yeah.
It's not us necessarily.
I love browsing through, my and other people's playtimes on systems. I just think it's fun to be like, ooh, I see that we both played this game. How much hours have you sunk into it?
Yeah.
I just like comparing and, looking at it, but also like looking at mine and be like, how much did I really play that game? Be like, oh my gosh, I played it for this many hours. And if you knew that the first like 5 hours was on a different one that said demo, and then the other one, was missing those 5 hours, I get it. I
Yeah.
do get it.
Yeah.
I don't know that I care that much, but I do get it.
I do too. I like I said, that's not something that really would bother me. But I see your point.
Absolutely. All right, let's see what other people have to say. We got a comment from TY who said, I do whenever I can. What would be nice is if the demo acts as a prologue to the main game, like how Voice of Cards, the Isle of Dragon Roars did. Now I'm looking at getting Sea of Stars soon after playing its demo.
Yeah, I thought that was interesting because, like you said, a lot of demos are like the first chapter or two.
Yeah.
But the idea of it being a totally separate prologue, I thought was really neat.
It's kind of cool. I've heard of games doing that, and I wonder, but at the same time, it makes me think, well, what if the prologue isn't exactly like the main game? It's not what if it's not a great representation? What if you play as a different character?
I think
I
think they need to make it that
Yeah.
for it to be a good demo.
Yeah.
I mean, they would need to design it so that it is a good representation of the game.
Like the prologue that is separate. I've played games that have prologues, but not many people go that route. The only one that I can think of that really stands out to me is I played the prologue before playing the game, and I was really interested was Resident Evil 7, which had a really cool prologue that was separate from the game. And I played that, loved it, and then played the regular game.
Right.
And it was different than the regular game, but it was close enough to where, it made me interested.
Yeah. And, TY also mentioned Sea of Stars, which I loved. And I did play the demo for that, too. And now that I'm saying all these, I guess I do play a fair amount of demos. And that's not a prologue demo. That is a demo that kind of drops you in a little later into the game when you already have some abilities. And I actually think that's pretty neat in retrospect, because what it does is it lets you experience maybe the way the game's going to feel a little later on.
Yeah.
Which is usually when it's at its peak, maybe. And it avoids what you were talking about, because you don't play the very beginning and then come back and be like, well, I don't even remember this crap.
Yep.
You get to, because that's the part that's supposed to hook you anyway, So when you buy the full game, you do have to play that part. And then when you get back to that part from the demo, you're like, oh, I remember this part. But they also blocked out certain things that would be spoilers in the demo.
That's pretty cool.
That was a really well done demo.
Yeah, and that's all the question is, what do you do for a demo? Do you give them the beginning of the game to say, have fun? Or just give them a certain amount of hours and just say, do whatever you want with these hours? There are a lot of ways of doing it. Or do you give them a custom catered part of the game, kind of like you're talking about her Sea of Stars? It's a good question, and it probably just varies depending on which game it is.
Yeah.
I'm thinking Assassin's Creed, they're doing that free trial where you can play for X number of hours. like, to me, that kind of makes sense for that game. I don't know if it would be cool if they dropped you in the middle of the game and was like, all right, do this mission. I feel like they probably, it would probably less. It would probably limit you. It'd probably be much shorter.
Yeah, it would.
And then, it may make you feel like, yeah, but this feels very catered. What is the actual game going to be like?
Right.
And so I think it definitely is a game-by-game decision that people have to make. But actually, one of my favorite comments is what we have here. And maybe my favorite comment in this entire thing was Vincent, who said, I play demos so I can tell if my computer can run the full game. I think that's brilliant.
That spoke to me because that's exactly what I do on Steam Deck.
Yeah, I really do. Steam Deck. Yeah, what a great example.
Yeah.
Because you've done this with, you did this with Tekken.
Yep.
You did this with, what else? Some other game.
I did it with Street Fighter 6.
Street Fighter 6, yeah.
I did it with Sea of Stars, which I knew was going to run, but I did it anyway.
Yeah.
I did it with Prince of Persia.
Right.
I pretty much do it with every game I can.
But like, see, how does it run
I'm
on
going to
Steam
do
Deck?
it with Assassin's Creed Mirage.
Exactly. Like, how does it run on Steam Deck, and how does it go?
That is literally my probably my primary reason for demos.
That is, I love this comment. I really hadn't thought about it that way, but it totally makes sense. Because I have had times, especially when my old PC that was a little underpowered, or quite underpowered now, I had times where I would get a game and it just did not run well on my computer. And I kind of regretted being like, well, I wish I had gotten this somewhere else because I can't really play it here.
Right.
Look, and unfortunately, it was always, and the reason I would buy them on PC with it was the only place we could get them. The time that really comes to mind for me is Kerbal Space Program 2, which I know that game was very poorly optimized for any PC, but
especially at 1060 or whatever.
1070.
My bad.
Yeah, don't short me.
I didn't mean to.
Don't short me. It just did not work, and now I'm thinking like I want to go back and try that game. Now I got a beefier PC, but if I had had a demo for that.
There you go. Would have saved you some money.
Would have. No, actually, I got that one from the developer, but still.
Well, there you go.
But anyways, so you ready to do the 3 for Dale Club?
Does a bear crap in the woods?
That's right. So for those of you who stuck with us this entire time, we just want to say thank you for hanging out to the end of the podcast. And we do that through a thing we call our 3 for Dale Club.
That's right. 3 for Dale Club is our exclusive organization, and all you have to do to join is leave us a comment and say whatever the hell you want to say. But make sure you include the phrase 3 for Dale.
Yep, that's our secret code phrase. We look for everyone who says 3 for Dale. That lets us know you made it to the end, and we shout you out at the end of the next podcast. Starting things off today, we got Mr. Tom Derry, who left us a comment about our past podcast. He said, regarding indie and AAA titles, I would agree that some indies far exceed the gameplay experience of AAA titles. They're just made with passion. Years later, I'm playing my $15 Stardew Valley purchase with free updates and no microtransactions.
Yep, and we just started a Stardew Farm, so
and
that game's alive and well.
Super alive and well. It's such an amazing game. You are absolutely right. Some do far exceed the gameplay experience, and I think the fact that Stardew is $15 and has been $15 forever is a big part of it. I think that if Stardew was a $70 game, I'm not saying that it isn't worth 70 because I do think it is, but if it was 70, I don't think people would look at it as fondly.
I don't think they would either because people crap on games charging that much that aren't like crazy 3D graphics. Honestly, I don't think it would have got the chance it got.
No, 100%
is what I'm getting at. And also, Tom, I think Tom is the one that left us a last minute 3 for Dale last week that I didn't see because I think we were already recording at that point. Yeah. But Tom. We got you in this week. Thank you for your retroactive last week as well. You the man.
Starting you off at the top of the 3 for Dale Club.
That's right. That was done with purpose.
Number one.
Number one. Next up, we got D18, who said, I used to be Team Physical, talking about physical games. Loved having a collection. Loved going to midnight releases, then playing until 3 for Dale in the morning. Over the years, I have slowly been converted to digital, and I don't see myself looking back. Like Daniel said, I especially love it for Switch because of how easy it is to travel around with.
Yeah, it is convenient. I mean, it is very convenient, but I don't know.
It is convenient, but I don't know, man.
I just can't help but want physical copies of my games. I don't know. Maybe it's just because I'm old.
No, I like it too. But the whole reason we were talking about this is because some physical games we were discussing, forcing you to have a download. to play it. And then I said,
That
well,
was
at
the
that point,
topic of last week's podcast, wasn't it?
And yes, it was. And so at that point, I said, I'll just go digital.
Yeah.
And you were like, man, I don't know, man. I'm a stuffed goblin. I still want that shiz on the shelf.
I'm just saying it again. I really just, even if like, I just like having the disc. I don't know what it is.
Yeah, I don't need a disc if it's not going to do anything for me. I'm cool. I mean, at that point, I'm moving.
It does something for you. It's something to put on your shelf, and you can look at it and be like, oh.
Yeah, it doesn't even fly good, though, if you use it as a Frisbee.
Nope, doesn't.
All right, hit us with Shaq Lefty.
Oh, Shaq Lefty, our old friend Tyler from high school, who says, 3 for Dale. Regarding the discussion about FPS and what refresh rates do to you in terms of competitiveness, Linus Tech Tips did a couple of videos a few years ago comparing them by having pro streamers do tests, and the results were conclusively in favor of higher FPS. I'll try and find the video and post in the Discord, which you did.
Yes, he did. I have not had a chance to watch it because I forgot about it. But I will watch it because that is interesting to me. And I do like LTT.
Yes. I mean, like, hey, I do think that when you're talking about something that is like an uber competitive game, I mean, come on, why not make it as smooth as possible? Why not get it? Because, you know, your response rate's going to be better. You're not going to have things lagging. Like, even if it's little, even if it's small, you know. Yep. True. I think and I would imagine that pro streamers probably going to be some of the more perceptive people at this, right?
You would think, yeah.
You would think. But yeah. I do tend to more and more lean towards giving myself a higher frame rate when possible.
Yeah, and we weren't necessarily saying that a higher frame rate isn't good for competitiveness.
No.
We were just saying, like, is it bad in general? Like, if a game has a lower frame rate, but it's consistent, like, what's better? You know, we were really talking in terms of a single-player game. But,
right, yeah.
But I agree with you, Tyler. I think higher refresh rate's clearly better if you can get it.
100%. I'll take it every time, even in a single-player game. I'll take it. But I don't mind. If it's really solid 30, I'm fine with it.
Absolutely.
I can play.
All right, we got another comment here from Kitaclysm, who's a member, by the way. Kit said, 3 for Dale. I wasn't confident in spotting 30 versus 60 FPS before, but I have switched teams so fast after I saw a game on my phone, had a 30 FPS mode to save battery, and I turned that booger right back to 60. Also glad I got reminded to disconnect my Roku TV from the internet because I definitely think they're going to force you to update or update automatically if they do push ads.
I hope that doesn't happen, Kit.
Me too.
I hope that does not happen. By the way, if you want to be like Kit and become a YouTube member and get the bonus video, check out the join button. That's the way to go on YouTube.
Yes, join button.
All right, next we got Bombs Away, who said, I doubt $70 will go away unless AAA games continuously flop and they would only vanish for 5 years at most. I think the indie scene is becoming more prevalent, but at a snail's pace. When people buy the exact FIFA, Madden, and Call of Duty everywhere, it's not surprising with the current game market. Anyway, great episode as always. Today, 3 for Dale.
3 for Dale to you as well, Bombs.
Yeah, I don't think the AAA market's going anywhere.
Yeah, it can't.
And therefore, the $70 game isn't going anywhere. But will we see these developers maybe have less $70 games? Maybe. If we keep seeing flops, we might see some more budget price games alongside those big hitters still being priced at 70.
I agree. They're not gone. They're not going to be gone, but they may be less prevalent.
I'm hoping. I'm hoping.
All right. Next up, we got Guy in Time, who's also a member, who said, I will probably just pay for the Ubisoft Plus and cancel immediately to play it, talking about Star Wars Outlaws.
Yeah.
That's what I did with Far Cry 6 and Watch Dogs Legion, and it's a pretty good option if you don't feel like paying full price for their stuff. May the 3 for Dale be with you, and also with you.
Wow.
That's a Star Wars reference.
I got that one.
Did you get that?
Yeah. It was very subtle, but somehow I was able to get it.
Well, I just thought I might have to point it out to you.
All right. Finally, ending up 3 for Dale Club, we have Dale himself, who's also a member.
Heck yeah.
Landon Stallings, he said, I will never purchase a $70 game.
Never.
Never. It's just a thing. Too many great older discounted games to play I've missed. $60 is already a hard sell for me. Most games I wait till $30 or less. Sounds like me. I love games and I intend to enjoy them until the day I die, but I definitely don't need them. I need water, food, and shelter. Law. And 3 for Dale. I don't know, Daniel. What do you think? Do you think you need games? Do you think you'd be able to survive if you didn't have games?
No.
Yeah, I didn't think so.
No.
Me neither.
I think...
It's like you need water. It's in the pyramid somewhere, right?
Yeah. Well, I don't really need water because, like, I play a lot of Sea of Thieves, so there's my water, right there. And there's also tons of pineapples that I eat in there. So, like, there's the food.
There's the food.
So, really, I just need a house and Sea of Thieves.
You can go in the any of the shops. You know.
Yeah, but they don't want me to sleep in there.
You can sleep on your boat.
Yeah, but it's scary.
You can do it.
There's storms and krakens and
You'll be
big
all
old
right.
sharks.
You'll be all right.
The Shrouded won't leave me alone.
You'll be all right. Just hole up at an outpost. Just throw down your ank. Go down and sleep.
No, I'm not sleeping with my ank down. Catch me with nothing but my ank in my hands. I ain't doing it.
Okay.
All
right. All right, guys. Well, until next time, I'm Randy.
Which makes me Daniel.
And this has been Gaming Gig.
3 for Dale.